Days 1000 through 110, we start off the video by enchanting all of my tools and making sure they have some funny names, which are just like little faces. If you want to see them, then pause the video, I guess, or like wait until they pull them out eventually in one of these parts of the video. And I start to finish off the path between my base and the end, and then going and mining some stuff for the future, and even some magma blocks for a future gold farm, and then building some glass around the path and some leaves too. And then mining out the glass so that I can put in the walls, which I'm doing here, and then adding in the lanterns on top for some light. And then I'm running down the path here looking at it all, and yes, my FOV is super zoomed out. This is just what happens because I have my thing on Quake Pro. Yeah, the portal looks very weird here. And then I start building some arches to make everything around the path super fancy. And I go and start mining some sand for some glass, which you see me placing here. And then I start placing some leaves for some decoration, even doing some of the floor as well with some slabs. And then doing the exterior of the tunnel, and then running down the tunnel for the end of the 1010 days. Days 1010 through 1020, I start off by building a tower, and then I'm bulking up the sides of the walls so villagers can't escape the tower. And then I'm putting some kelp in here so that I can make these all source blocks so that I can get this villager up to the top and in the boat. And then I start building a bridge so I can start bringing the villagers over to my base. And then I take a break from that to mine some more magma for a future gold farm. Even messing around in a bastion, which I almost die at. Again, I'm back to my old ways of almost dying, as you'll see in this clip. Bro. But then I stop and go back to the overworld and build up a room for the villagers to start breeding. As you can see here, I'm tossing some bread at them, and I just watch them make children for the end of the 1020 days. Days 1020 through 1030, I start off by collecting some materials for a iron farm, and then in this clip I almost die because of me being stupid. Bruh. And then I go to look for some iron because I need hoppers, and conveniently I find them in this mob spawner room, which was very lucky on my end, as you can see in this chest. And then I start building the iron farm, so enjoy the time lapse. Short intermission to hit this. That counts, that counts, that counts. I did that. And the iron farm is finished, and as you can see, the golems are spawning, and I was pretty happy with this. And then I continue to kind of upgrade the iron farm by replacing all the glass in the farm, and then I mine down the scaffolding so that I can get a final look at the farm. As you can see, it's looking great. And then I just sleep for the end of the 1030 days to this nice sunset. Days 1030 through 1040, I finish off gathering magma, and then I find this super rare thing, and this is my reaction. Bro, why do I keep finding rare stuff? I can't even keep it! Ugh! I'm so mad, I'm so mad, I'm so mad, I'm so mad, I'm so mad. What? Bro, why? Then I'm just mining some coal here. I thought this looked nice. And mining some sand for glass in this very pretty spot. And then making some trapdoors, going up to the mountains to get some snow blocks, as you can see here. And even making some hoppers too. Getting some wool and buying some name tags from my villagers. progress update on the items I've collected so far. Then grabbing some bamboo. Very satisfying. And then going down into a mine shaft to grab some string because I don't have any. And then I made some scaffolding for the end of the 1040 days. Days 1040 through 1050, I'm mining down some furnaces so that I can place them closer to the iron farm. And then I go to grab some coal so that I can start smelting some stuff. And then while I was traveling for some coal, I found this. Pink sheep. This is rare. Again, nothing to keep it with, but I'll bring back its wool. That's fine. And then here I am finishing up smelting the glass for gold farm and then shoving it into a shulker box. And then I mine down this old villager breeder because I do not need it anymore. And then here's a time lapse of me making the iron golem killer way farther down. And then I'm just showing off the inside of the killing chamber for the end of the 1050 days. Day 1050 through 1060 is going to be the construction of the gold farm, so enjoy the time lapse. And also day 1060 through 1070. And then here I am doing the AFK test, and this has 2 angles. Wow, isn't that amazing? Yeah, this farm is great. It works very well. And here I'm showing off the rewards. There would be more, but I need to make an auto smelter. and then I can actually do an accurate test. Days 1070 through 1080, I started off by mining some quartz for the first time ever in this world, and then I go down to pretty up the iron farm kind of chamber thing with this glass, looking very nice. And then this is just a time lapse of me adding a storage system to the gold farm. And then adding a disposal for the garbage with lava, which I didn't surprisingly burn myself with. And then just adding some observers to make it fire forever. And then I almost die in this clip. And I was like, I could do better, so I just stick the scaffolding clutch for the end of the 1080 days. Days 1080 through 1090 starts off with me continuing building the tunnel. And then I find this, which I don't know how rare it is. You're gonna have to tell me. Let's see how rare this is. And I look at this nice sunrise, and then working on the interior of the iron farm AFK room. And now for a hopefully satisfying edit. And then finally finishing it up here. And then I start working on decorating the gold farm with barely any resources. And I do this for the rest of the 1090 days. Days 1090 through 1100, I start off by mining my beacon down, and then I go to fix my iron farm. As you can see, it is working here. And then I AFK the iron farm for a bunch of iron, so enjoy the time lapse. Alright, and then I collect all the iron that I got, turn them into blocks, and then put them in this chest. As you can see, I got a lot of iron. And then this happened. But then I mark out a potential slime chunk, and then building the border around the chunk, and then I start mining down and run into a bunch of mobs. And then as I got to the bottom, I got rewarded with diamonds. Even mining out a space for the beacon, I get some more diamonds. And then I start building the beacon at the bottom of the world. And then activating the beacon with some haste too. And then fighting off some phantoms for the end of the 1100 days. Days 11:20 through 11:30, I start off by flying through this amazing cave, and then I use this creeper to help me find some buried treasure. Okay, that didn't help. There it is. And then this happened. But if I find a woodland mansion, I could get some totems. It's almost like I called it. And as I'm going through the woodland mansion, I'm just killing random mobs and stuff. And then getting some totems because I am running very dangerously low on totems. As you can see here, I am almost dying. And then I do almost die in this clip. Oh wait, I probably need oh god. And I get this advancement real quick, and then I stumble into an ancient city which was right under the mountain range, and I'm just going to show you the clips from this because I didn't really find anything too good. I think I can dig out like a trench and bow him to death. Shoot. Oh, what the frick? Around the backside here? Come on, big guy. Okay, here he comes. Alright. Now please fall in. Okay. Hitting him. Bro, why did it spawn another one right on top of me? That's so stupid. Are you kidding me? They're both in there. Bruh. And then a video of me killing the warden. Just golden apple or enchanted gap. Go in there and just tank it. Put my axe has smite on it. I should do my axe. Oh, I killed him. That's pretty successful. I'm getting the heck out of here. And I'm just gonna spare you. I couldn't keep this one either. And then I almost die in this clip. Hello. Oh, that's a totem. What? And then I start to build up all 3 of the beacons for the end of the 1,130 days. Days 11:30 through 11:40, I am making a slime farm. And here are the fruits of my labor for the end of the 1,140 days. Days 1140 through 1150, I start off by almost dying. I'm gonna die. And then I start to kill more wither skeletons to get some skulls, and getting this final skull. A moment of silence for another thing I couldn't get. And then I pull off this ladder clutch, which wasn't that impressive, but then I go down and make a wither so that I can craft a beacon, so enjoy. I should be fine to stand here. And then I go down and place the final beacon, as you can see there. And then I give a saddle to my skeleton horse for the end of the 1,150 days. Days 1150 through 1160, I start off by finding these invisible spiders, 2 of them actually. And then I was able to trap one, and of course the other had to die. And then I put the other one in glass so that he can be immortalized. And then I go to my slime farm, and then this happens. It was a miracle. So I put him in a box and gave him a name tag so he wouldn't despawn. And then I started breeding 2 frogs. And while I was staring at this guy, the eggs hatched. Of course it would happen behind my back, wouldn't it? So I just pick up the tadpoles in my bucket, and I go fishing so that I can sneak up to this cat and tame it. And then I run into an igloo and start placing down my tadpole so that I can get a green frog, which actually almost dies. And then I make it back home and put him on a lead for the end of the 1,160 days. Days 1160 through 1170, I start off by looking at this really cool mangrove village, and then I start traveling off so that I can find a coral reef, which, as you can see here, I am swimming in. And then I get this cool little screenshot, and then I get back home and I trap a pillager in a boat, and then I start to pacify him so that I can use him for later. He looks like a gentleman. And then I go to mend up all my armor and tools. And then I build a little structure to resemble the wardens I killed. And I start to mine down all of the beacons because I need to store them for later. And then I go to fix the campfires in the trees. And then I start making a highway from the slime farm to my base so I can bring this invisible spider along and then trap him in this box for the end of the 1,170 days. Days 1170 through 1180, I am just working on the chunk that I mined out. And then I'm in the ocean grabbing up some kelp so that I can make an entrance and exit, and then I almost die. But then I switch out the normal glass for tinted glass because I think the tinted glass looks way better. And as you can see here, I'm finishing it up. Look how much better this looks. And then even finishing up the bottom half, and I put on shaders. And look at how it looks for the end of the 1,180 days. Days 1180 through 1190, I start off by killing the guy in the boat so I can start a raid. And I don't know what happened, but I think the raid broke. I'll just let it play out. Like, I was killing the mobs and like nothing was happening. Yeah, so in my sadness, I just started building a statue of me, because that's what every normal person does when they're sad. And here he is, giant me. I'm kind of proud of him. And then I relocated the warden statue and built a little base inside of myself for the end of the 1,190 days. Days 1190 through 1,200, I am just gathering a bunch of resources for a diamond beacon. So I'm going to show the clips of what all happened. And I'll chime in between whenever is needed. Meatball, and a pretty mountain range. This skeleton helps me get up here, which I think was kind of cool. And then I fly down into a cave and find an ancient city, which of course I have to raid. And then I make it home for the end of the 1,200 days. Days 1200 through 1210, I start off by collecting some materials for a raid farm that I am going to be building, and I'll just show the quick montage of all the items being collected. this also happened. After all that, I go up in AFK for the end of the 1,210 days. Days 1210 through 1220, there is nothing because I accidentally AFK'd in the box overnight. So yeah, that's kind of awkward, but yeah. Days 1220 through 1230, I start off by crafting some rockets, and then I go to build the raid farm. So enjoy this time lapse. And then I build the strength and regen beacon for the end of the 1,230 days. Days 1230 through 1240, I start off by almost dying to this guy. And then I start doing some test AFK stuff, just making sure the farm works. I had a lot of fails with this farm. I've had to tear it down and rebuild it twice. That's why you see it's kind of different from the first time lapse. Yeah, it was all a mess. I'm just gonna let this stuff play out. And then I finish up AFKing for the end of the 1,240 days. Days 1240 through 1250, I'm doing a full AFK test, and this is all the loot that I got from the first 5 days of AFKing. And then this is the loot for the final half of the AFK session. And then I go back home for the end of the 1,250 days. Days 1250 through 1260, I am building a structure around the iron farm so it looks way better, so enjoy the time lapse. Days 1260 through 1270, I'm starting off by getting some creepers in a pit. And then I am going to blow them up with TNT so that I can get music discs. And then these are all the music discs that I got from them, including the discs that I already have, which is Other Side and the Warden one. And then I go into the Nether to find Pigstep, which is I think the last one I need. So I'll just show off the clips from this. And then finally finding Pigstep, you can tell I was happy. And then I go back to finally put both of my discs into the shulker for the end of the 1270 days. Days 1270 through 1280, I start off by cleaning up all the chest monsters in my area. Then I go into the Nether, snag some ancient debris, and then I am collecting some wither skeleton skulls so that I can make way more beacons than what I need. And of course I had a few near deaths, so I'll let those play out when I'm done collecting these heads. And then I tunnel my way back home and then make a new bow because the last one I had disappeared somewhere. And then I put mending on it for the end of the 1280 days. Days 1280 through 1290, I start off by collecting some wither stars so that I can make 3 beacons. Yes, you heard me right, 3, as I place them down here. And then I go off traveling and find this little boat, and then chilling with a polar bear, and then finding quite a bit of diamonds. I've been trying to make a diamond beacon. I don't think I've explained that before. Yeah, I want a diamond beacon. I'm getting ever so close to it. But then I stumble into this, which actually looks pretty nice. I scoop up an axolotl so that I can be my pet. And then this happened. And then I resurface and then craft all of my diamond blocks, which is quite a lot actually. And then I go home and store them in the chest, and I only need one more stack for a beacon. So I do some more off-camera mining, and then go back home for the end of the 1,290 days. Days 1290 through 1,300, I am working on the floor in my base. And I think it looks really nice actually, almost like the Void. And then I make a really good Silk Touch pickaxe. And then I name my next pet Mud with 2 Ds because I think it's kind of funny. And I do some more off-camera mining. Hey look, I have enough for all the beacons I need to make. So I start making all the beacons. This has taken so long to do. But I've finally gotten all of them except for a netherite beacon. That'll probably be something I do in 3,000 days, so watch out for that. And then finally I'm placing the beacons on the top of all of them. This has taken a while, and my replay file corrupted, so I'm just showing clips of me building because I've recorded it. And yeah, like I said, my file's corrupted, so this is all you get to see. And then I almost died to this iron golem. And then I show off the final product of my beacons for the end of the 1,300 days. Days 1,300 through 1310, I start off by making a gold helmet because I am going to be dealing with some piglins. And then I almost die twice. And then finally I get this to happen, which I've been waiting to happen for a while. Did their little dance. And then I go back to the overworld and start building up the second base. And then I'm finishing up mining out the old houses from inside of the bigger ones for the end of the 1,310 days. luckily I finished the base in time, and I'm going to show it off at the end of the 1,400 days. Days 1400 through 1410, I start off by placing TNT because I'm going to blow up the old creeper farm. And then I'm going to start working on some interiors for the second base, and this is the brewing room. Then the library. Then the armory. And the blacksmith. The storage room. And then the transition room for the end of the 1,410 days. Days 1410 through 1420, I start off by continuing interiors. This is the sugarcane farm. And then the cactus farm. And then a map room. And then a snow farm. then a smelting room. And then here I am showing off all of the interiors for the end of the 1,420 days. Days 1420 through 1430, I start off by flying around to get the Adventure Time achievement. You can't park here. And then I stumble into a mushroom island. How pretty. And I get the light as a rabbit achievement. Sometimes this game is peaceful. Let's just enjoy this. Anyway, I had to get the total B location achievement. And then finally completing the Adventure Time achievement. And then getting the sticky situation achievement, and then getting this is it a balloon achievement, and then is it a plane achievement, and then I almost die here. I go to an outpost and almost die to a golem. And then I give a pillager a taste of its own medicine. And then I go up to a meadow to play a record. And I get the Monsters Hunted achievement for the end of the 1,430 days. Days 1430 through 1440, I start off by getting some more achievements like this parrot one. And then I start to tame my own parrot. He's gorgeous. And then I tame another parrot that's my favorite color. And then they both just start standing on my shoulders. And then I start working on the Star Trader achievement. As you can see here, I am getting the achievement. And then I pull off this clutch for the end of the 1,440 days. Days 1440 through 1450, I start off by getting all the materials I need for a netherite tunnel borer, as you can see here. And then I dig down so that I can start building the tunnel borers. Let's just be satisfied for a second. And then building the tunnel bores. and I'm here testing them now. But the only problem is lava. I made this next to a lot of lava pits, so yeah. That's all I did for the end of the 1,450 days. Days 1450 through 1460, I start off by going to the nether so that I can get on the strider to get an achievement. Then I also pop a totem. And then I go to get this bullseye achievement, definitely my first try. And I wait for this beehive to fill up so that I can get this achievement. Then I start mining copper, this will be important for later. And then I wait for this frog to grow up so that I can get this achievement. And then I almost die. And then I pick up all 3 of my frogs and bring them into the nether. And then I'm getting all these magma cubes and splitting them up so that I can get the frog light achievement. And then I'm using the copper that I mined earlier to make a copper block so that I can get wax on, wax off. And then I try to get this achievement, but I get distracted by the perfect shipwreck, or ship unwrecked. And then yeah, I just get this achievement. And I hit a skeleton from 50 meters away for the end of the 1,460 days. It's 1460 through 1470. I start off by taking down the tower that I made a few days back. As you can see, the sand is falling, very satisfying. And then some very aggressive chewing. And then I finally get this achievement for the end of the 1,470 days. Days 1470 through 1480, I start off by collecting a mint, and then I fully charge a respawn anchor, and then I strike a villager so that I can get this achievement as well. And then I start splashing all of the potions so that I can get this advancement. And then I get on a strider so that I can go across 50 blocks of lava to get this achievement. And then I ended off with taming the final cat that I need for the end of the 1,480 days. Days 1480 through 1490, I am just finishing off all the rest of the achievements that I have to do. So yeah, enjoy. It's 1490 through 1500. I am just mining some obsidian. And then finishing up that tower for the end of the 1500 days. Days 1500 through 1510, I continue to mine down the obsidian pillars. Days 1530 through 1540, I start off by building the flying machines. And then 1540 through 1550, I start off by blowing up the end island. It's 1570 through 1580. I start off my mega project, which is going to be a cyberpunk city. So enjoy the time lapse. And then I show off all the city that I've done so far for the end of the 1,600 days. Days 1600 through 1610, I am continuing working on the city. Days 1610 through 1620, I am working on the other side of the city. Days 1620 through 1630, I am taking a little bit of a break from building to go out and do some end busting, so enjoy this little montage. Ah, bruh. That's kind of in the Matrix here for a second. I guess bad. Oh, I forgot to... Okay, everyone's just disappearing. It's cool. Come on, quickly. There we go. let's not die out here. Okay. And then I almost died. And that's my cue to leave for the end of the 1,630 days. Alright, so I'm on day 1700, and this project is going to take me way longer than I thought it would. But this is what I have so far. It's still a massive project, and I will come back to it later. But for now, I think I'm ready for 1.20. Alright, here we are, 1.20. It's time to get straight into it, let's go. First I start off by optimizing my world so that I can run just a little bit faster. And then we actually start these 1700 through 1710. I start off by going to an ancient city because I'm trying to find this silence trim, which I find in my third chest, and it's apparently a 1% drop. Going back home and duplicating the trim so that I can put it on all my armor pieces. But first I gotta go into the nether so I can get some ancient debris so that I can make a netherite ingot for my turtle helmet. And now it's time to start trimming up my armor, which I get a nice little achievement for. Almost forgot the leggings. And this is what it looks like with all the armor put on it. It looks so sick with my texture pack. And then we retire the turtle helmet. Anyways, look at how my armor looks when I have my Elytra on. Super sick. But then I go up into the nether, trap this piglin in a boat because I need to get his head later, so I name him Pig Pig. And then I pacify him, and I didn't know they could punch you when they're pacified, so I had to quickly get back to my PC, jump out of the boat. And he's going places. Looks like he's heading into the next 10 days. Day 1710 through 1720. I start off by getting a charged creeper into a boat, and then I found the skeleton trap. So I'm just killing all the skeletons off the horses so that I can take the horses. And then I find a second skeleton trap, and these things are supposed to be rare, so I don't even know what's happening. And then I almost die because my mouse and keyboard disconnects. And then I finish up getting all the horses so that I can have them for something if I ever need them. And then I get the charged creeper out of the boat and get it to follow me all the way back home so that I can bring him into the nether and get this piglin's head. That looks so ugly. But then I just put the head on my shelf. And then I go back into the nether and start traveling so that I can get into the 1.20 things. So I light my portal here and spawn in a geode, and I am out in the middle of the ocean. But it doesn't matter because we finally find the Cherry Grove biome, which gives me my achievement bag for adventuring time. Just listen to the sound of this. This is so satisfying. Then I start picking some flowers that I might need later and grabbing some leaves. And then I look at the beautiful scenery for the end of the 1720 days. Days 1720 through 1730. I start by making this horse into glue. I mean taking his leather for later. And then I start to make the archaeology brush so that I can start digging up some trail ruins. And while I was traveling, I made a bamboo raft, which might be my favorite boat in the game because it looks all nice and cozy. But then I eventually find the trail ruin and start digging it out, finding my first pottery shard in the sus gravel, which gives me an achievement. This is heartbreaking to see. And then I find some more treasure before I find big time treasure, which is this music disc. I was so excited about this. Then I decide to search the warm ocean ruins, and then I get this thing right off the bat. Another rare thing I couldn't keep. And on top of that, I go to another trail ruin and get the same exact thing, like on my first like piece of sand. I don't get it. It's crazy. My luck in this 1.20 update has been insane. And then I find a desert village right next to that ruin and then spot this guy. He's gorgeous. So we saddle up and I gotta bring him back thousands of blocks and there's only one way to do it. Day 1730 through 1740, I start off by flying down and placing down my first ever sniffer egg and crack 1, crack 2, and then finally a baby sniffer. I'm so glad that this thing won the mob vote, well deserved. With that I place down my second sniffer egg and wait for this to hatch as well because I need to breed them together to get more eggs. Then one of the sniffers finally grow up and he gets immediately to work digging up a pitcher pod, which I run over and plant right next to the water so that they'll grow, which I get an achievement for. And then the other one finally grows up, so I breed them together so that I can steal their eggs, so that I can put on my shelf. And I just grow up the pitcher plant and take it, and it looks pretty nice. But then finally I get some torch flower seeds. This is such a cool mechanic. I think the sniffers are so cool. But I plant the torch flower and I get it for the end of the 1740 days. These 1740 through 1750, I start off by crafting my first pot for this achievement, and then I place it somewhere else and put the torch flower in it, and it looks very nice. And then I make a chiseled bookshelf and connect it to a redstone component to get this achievement. And then I head all the way back to the desert and start breeding these camels together so that I can get this achievement back. Then I go to a woodland mansion and almost die trying to get the Vex armor trim. And then I get home and accidentally trigger a raid, and I'm just going to ignore this like all my other problems. So I start buying a mending and unbreaking book for my brush, and then here I am putting all of the books on my brush. And then I am back in the trail ruins getting this wayfinder trim. And then I make it all the way to a monument so that I can get this tied armor trim. Then I head to the nether to get to this bastion so that I can get this snout armor trim. Also go into this fortress so I can get this rib armor trim. And then finally going into the end to get this spire armor trim, which is the final trim that I need for an achievement, which I am getting here, so I'll just let this play out. And I put all those armor pieces that I just trimmed up on armor stands for the end of the 1750 days. Day 1750 through 1760 I start off by transforming the end platform. And then going downtown to set up some torii gates. And I finished making the gates for the end of the 1760 days. Day 1760 through 1770 I start off by working on some street designs. And then I start working on this gigantic tree for the end of the 1770 days. Making that tree inspired me to make a whole bunch of other trees on days 1770 through 1780. Then I start blowing up the bedrock around the center portal and building some Japanese style houses for the city. And here I am walking through all of what I built so far for the end of the 1780 days. Day 1780 through 1790, I start by working on the other side of the city. Then I start working on a nice statue. And then the final buildings on this strip of land. And this is what it looks like when I walk all the way down it for the end of the 1,790 days. Day 1790 through 1,800. I start off by working on the shops. And then I go around placing the remaining cherry blossom trees that I need to place. Also working on this gate. And then I'm showing off the shops for the end of the 1,800 days. Days 1,800 through 1810. I start by looking at the city, and I need to get all these buildings done, so that's what the next 100 days are going to be. So enjoy the massive time lapse. Well, it's done. Days 1850 through 1860 is basically me cleaning up all the mess that I've made throughout this 2000 days, starting with cleaning up the house, then going on to the outside of the house and clearing up the large area on the outside where I did a bunch of achievements at, and even getting this music disc farm out of here for a nice clean slate. And I'm clearing up all the pathways that I have random blocks for, and my trading hall and storage room, and fixing up my arrow and bone farm with some lanterns everywhere looking very nice, and clearing out my nether hub, and going back into the overworld and clearing out stuff on my slime farm, and erasing the trail that I left, and then taking down this giant tower from an achievement, finishing up here. And then I found another invisible spider, which led me to a second one as well, and I got this guy in here. Don't ask where the other one went. I clear up the mess around my statue and mine down a villager trail, which led to this villager transporter. And after mining it all down, the village kind of looks normal again. And then I'm mining down random towers that I just have everywhere around my base. And I place a cauldron at the raid farm for the end of the 1,860 days. Days 1860 through 1870. I start off by gathering some ender pearls, and then go in the nether and start rearranging some portals, and then towering up to the bedrock roof and getting up on the roof with the pearls that I just got so that I can relocate this portal, which I go through right here, and it leads up perfectly to Sticktown. And this trip right here is why I'm expanding my nether hub, because this just takes so long. I'm gonna time lapse this. Yeah, it really takes that long. But anyways, I put another portal at the raid farm, and then I go through, going to the bedrock roof again and setting up another portal. And then I go through, and this isn't the raid farm, and I almost even die. And then I almost die again. Then I finally get the portal situation right. Going through, it makes it to the raid farm, which is perfect. Then I start working on the pathways to my portal. With all that done, I think it looks great. But that's it for the end of the 1,870 days. Days 1870 through 1880. I start off by building a bridge between my two bases. And then testing out the bridge here, and it's great. Then I start working on putting beacons in all the towers around my walls. Even on the other side too. And then then I look at it and it's looking great, honestly. I like the look of this. But then I fly up and put end rods on top of these things for the end of the 1,880 days. Days 1880 through 1890. I start off by pushing this villager into a boat so that I can bring him all the way to Sticktown. Look at how fast we're going. And I finally get him to the portal and break the boat and get him onto the other side. And then I go back for his friend, get him in the boat, and then also to the other side. And of course he got stuck in the water, so I had to help him out. Then I gather all the materials I need so that I can build a villager breeder. And then even grabbing some wheat or bread. And then I start working on the villager breeder. Hopefully that was satisfying. But then I start sending villagers off out of the villager breeder, get them out of the minecart so that they can find their own beds and workstations. Anyway, I found these two dudes chilling on the beach, and I was trying to bring them back in. I guess they're best friends because they were following each other. And then finally, I populate all of Sticktown for the end of the 1,890 days. Days 1890 through 1,900. I start off by getting harassed for no reason. Then I go to tame a very specific cat. Then I go to my raid farm, grab a couple of emeralds. Then to my trading hall to get a name tag. And finally putting a name on this. This is for you. You know who you are. Then I start working on the floorboards of the village, which inspired me to do some more work also on my main base. And then I'm going around looking at all my floorboards for the end of the 1,900 days. Days 1,900 through 1910. I start off by flying down to the fortress, and then I'm getting some wither skulls. Bro, literally another one that I couldn't get. But things got crazy. I found another one, and this guy couldn't make up his mind whether he wanted to fight or not, and then I got jumped by a bunch of wither skeletons, and I just went in the matrix for a second. Then I get my last skull that I need, and then I go to the end and build a platform underneath the portal, rebuilding my wither trap, and then I bring a chicken down and spawn in the wither so that when he explodes I can get this wither rose, and then I finally just finish off the wither. As you can see, I got the wither rose that I was wanting. Then I go to collect some pufferfish for the end of the 1,910 days. Days 1910 through 1920. I start off by working on the inside of the walls of my other base. then I put up some lights so mobs don't spawn. And then I go out and work on the things in the sky. Finishing up for the end of the 1,920 days. Days 1920 through 1930. I start off by getting this horse back into the trading hall where he belongs. Then I start mining down some sugar cane so that I can make some rockets. And I go back to the trading hall to get some food. And then I fill up both of my boxes so that I can have some good resources. And then I go up to mend up all my stuff because I haven't went mending anything in a while. And then I almost die for the end of the 1,930 days. Days 1930 through 1940, I start off by going to the nether roof so that I can grab some brown and red mushrooms. Then I go to get a flower from the overworld. And I go under this tree so that I can make a few bowls or a specific type of suspicious stew. Then I put all the ingredients in a shulker box for later, and I collect some sand so that I can smelt it down into glass and then make some bottles out of it. Then I grab an enchanted golden apple and some puffer fish, and then I get a thing of sugar cane and make sugar. And going back to the nether to get some blaze rod, and I even got a wither skeleton skull on top of it, and some nether wart. But then I did this cool little clutch. Then I grabbed some redstone and gunpowder, and then I start waiting out the night so that I can fight some spiders, because I need their eyes. Then I go to the desert so I can get a very rare rabbit's foot. And then finally I got it. I might just be evil. Then I wait out a few days so that I can get some phantoms to spawn, so that I can take their membrane for the end of the 1,940 days. Days 1940 through 1950. I'm just making a nice little build. Can you guess what it is? It's a boxing ring, but yeah, that's all it is. You can go on to the next 10 days now. Alright, bye. Days 1950 through 1960. I'm about to do the scariest thing that I have ever done in this game. Yes, I will be transporting the warden across my entire world just for the achievement that I'm about to get. This is going to be crazy, and might be the end of my hardcore world. So I start by digging down into the ancient city, and I start building up a tunnel so that the warden can get to the surface, and then making an entrance to the tunnel. Then going to the top and placing down some water and some kelp so that I can make this thing a water elevator, and then adding signs so the water doesn't stop the warden from going past, and then the soul sand to make the bubble columns. Alright, it's time. Let's see how this goes. I almost died, but the warden is in the nether, and he almost killed me. Again. So angry. And I finally get him through the final portal for the end of the 1960 days. Days 1960 through 1970. I start off by going through this portal and then building a platform out and make water flow into the portal. Then I go to get a shulker and a boat. I make a bridge back to the portal, and then I start to bring the shulker along the bridge. Bro, why are they so annoying? But anyway, I finally make it back, and then I get him through the portal. He's gone, but then I start pulling him with a fishing rod, even using my elytra to launch him into space, basically. And then finally getting him to the center portal, and I accidentally get teleported through. No worries, I came back to get him out of the boat, and he successfully got to spawn. And then I bring him to the island where I'm going to get the achievement at, and then one more final air launch for the end of the 1970 days. Days 1970 through 1980. I start off by digging a pit, then I make a ring of prismarine, placing in this conduit, and then activating it, and then building a beacon so that I can get more effects that hasten regen. And then I set up a chamber so that I can get a dolphin, and then I trap the dolphin in and seal it off. Then I push a block on its head and keep it there for the end of the 1980 days. Days 1980 through 1990. I start off by running to a brewery because I'm going to make a bunch of potions for the achievement. And then finally at the end making the suspicious stew, and then putting my box of potions here so that I can use it for when I execute the achievement for the end of the 1990 days. Alright, it's about time we get this achievement. So I start off by going to an outpost to get Bad Omen, then going to a nearby village to start a raid, and then getting Hero of the Village, then going to a monument to get Mining Fatigue, and then it's finally time to do the achievement. I only got one shot at this, so let's go. And I did it, let's go. But then we finally arrive on the final sunset of the last 2,000 days. It's been a wild journey to get here, but we have made it another 1,000 days in this world, which is crazy to think, considering I am bad at Minecraft. One final sleep, and then finally 2,000 days.